Auditioning. Thug number one, thug number two.
For slaves.
Prostitute.
There's always the hustle.
Literate basketball players.
Mary had a little lamb.
The thug.
The only narrative that they understand of black life is drug addict, drug dealer, gang member.
I was the hottest black actor in the world after Boys and I. There were people clamoring to work with this young sensation. As long as he did the roles they wanted him to do, which were street kids.
I had been in this thing that is a masterpiece of American cinema, and nobody gave a shit. They really didn't give a fuck.
I auditioned for my first pimp part. My mother's all proud. Be the best pimp you can be. The whole church is praying for me.
Let's pray that Brother Robert gets the role of Silky Good Dick. The film is called Holes on the Stroll. It sounds like a musical.
And then that's when the filmmaker was born. I said, man, we can't let Hollywood tell our stories. We have to tell our own stories. They'll make us do anything and everything. And images travel around the world.
They had a perception of us that ultimately is false.
Good YouTube, it's your man Ronan back with another one. I want to shout out to A Game Nation. Much love to the subscribers, both new and old. Welcome back. Hit this notification bell for future videos. And to all my veterans across the board, salute to you guys. Hope you're enjoying your 72 hours or your 96 and you're careful out there. So this came from a question and from Yes I Said, what is a sin eater? So this goes with the title, From Sin Eaters to Cursebreakers. Now, this is a message that's going to be full with F-bombs and whatnot, my usual language. So viewer discretion is advised. With that being said, let's get into it. Now, a sin eater is the following. A person formerly hired to assume the sins of a dead person by eating food placed near the corpse. I'm going to leave this here for a minute because there was a time where people believed that people need to serve a place in eating the sins for someone else. Let's take it to the modern day times. When you are programmed to eat the sins and the shit that either family, society in general, or those intimately close to you often readily provide. Number one, we're not built for that shit. We are destined to oppose our environment. We are built for greatness. And many times over, you will have all those entities and then some trying to suppress our greatness, mainly by waging war here and here. So when it comes to being a sin eater, for example, this extends beyond the modern day simp or a spiritually impaired mule of provision. There's more than just the Jonathans and all these little tender dicks out here who get mad because women ain't giving them no ass, or some guys that actually hate women, or the weenies that actually hate black men. This affects every man across the board, especially if you're aspiring to be better, do better. You will be bombarded with the sins of the past generations. You'll be bombarded with the sins of people you meet or you keep in your intimate space. This is why we have to protect ourselves in a very definitive fashion, because you're going to get assaulted from all fronts at any time, any place, in a myriad of ways. You have to literally be on your motherfucking square. How many times you've been told you speak too intelligently? How many times you've been told that you think you're this, you think you're that? We should never apologize for being great at what we are doing. I see us all as artists in our own respective canvases, be it in certain industries or literally to the sense where I'm an artist and I'm going back into it. That has always been my first love. And life has been real challenging ever since it's been a separation from it. If anybody knows with their respective craft that they've been away from it or kind of lost their feeling towards it, you know that feeling. It's both tangible and intangible. But see, we have to make a stand and not only vote with our feet. Shout out to Doc Love for saying that many years ago. We have to set the standards of how people should treat us, receive us. Then again, you can stay and eat the sins of others and watch those sins eat you from the inside out, which is why you can have all the money you want. There's certain things you can't buy, rent, or lease. Peace of mind, organic respect, an actual home. Some of those things are very intangible. Some things are tangible in a sense, but again, you don't have the build for it because you are a slave to the lost value system. But while we're talking about it, let's see the transition that needs to happen. Number one, you need to flip the goddamn table on them. Now, in certain situations, yeah, you need to do it overtly. Fuck all you motherfuckers and fuck everything around it. But let's talk about this in a very practical sense. See, when you start center yourself, and we're talking about the spiritual value part, you're talking about this right here, taking care of who you are, knowing who you are, what you're about, and making no bones about it. You start moving towards your health because you have people who will feed you bullshit, not just as far as food wise, but bullshit narratives, all negative stereotypes. Even try to use your past to get you to collapse and fall short of your purpose. You'll even have family because you have to understand just because you're blood related doesn't mean that you can relate. They can relate to you. It comes from all fronts. Then we talk about your appearance. When they sit there and basically get you to look down on yourself, your appearance suffers greatly. Not just what you wear, but how you look, how you move, how you think. Then we're talking about your dwelling. Your dwelling tends to be a reflection of how you feel and carry yourself. Some people live in a fucking hovel because how they feel about themselves. They feel lesser than. They feel that they're not worth anything. And I'm here to tell you that is outright bullshit. Now, I can say it, but you need to stand on it for yourself. So, from moving from that, now you need to start regaining your footing within before running your own race. As I said before, everybody is their own respective artist. Some are welders. Some are great with numbers. Some are great with literal arts. A myriad of things. And when you're in your motherfucking groove, you're literally unstoppable. And that's how it should be. That is you literally opposing your environment. The society that said you're deadbeat dads when really with the statistical data, we're the best fathers out there in the fucking universe. Again, when you start regaining your footing and seeing yourself in a better light, sometimes you have to look in the mirror probably every chance you get and talk greatness into yourself. You no longer have to eat the shit that people feel about you, what they say about you, be it from past generations to modern day. Sometimes you sleep with people who want you to be a senior. Some of them birthed you. But it's on you to sit there and push the plate away and say, fuck what you guys are talking about. You don't have to say it verbally all the time. Your actions will say a lot more. This is when you start learning how to build yourself up, repairing yourself spiritually, concerning yourself about your health. And when you start seeing with your health, you can start building those bonds with the family members, because most times the reason why they hand you shit is because they have developed an appetite for it. This is where you get the little red/blue pill rage out here. So many guys have been shoveled a whole heap of shit all their lives. When reality hits them, they're accustomed to the taste of shit. Reality is too bitter of a taste for them. That's why their little tummy hurts. That's why they concern themselves with mundane issues and bitches, male and female. When you start running your own race, you're still going to get hatred, but you're going to gain that wind back, that momentum to move the fuck away from people that were destroying you and slowly. Not all cancers start within as far as like cells. It's the very entities that we surround ourselves with that can eat us alive. Now, one of the most important steps you need to exercise for yourself too is cancel all subscriptions to Bullshit Illustrated. This goes without saying when you have people in these little bullshit circles where you can build an orphanage in every city. Someone's going to have something fucked up to say about you. What you need to understand is they are your pro bono PR team, your public relations team. They will wake up early to see you fail. They'll wake up early and sit there and add negative hit pieces on you. Anytime you fall, they're right there to talk the loudest. But whenever you start becoming successful and start gaining that momentum, they'll say all kind of shit, but then again, it becomes background noise as it should be. Some of them you grew up with. Some of them you try to drag along to the next chapter when them motherfuckers were just seasonal characters. They weren't meant to go to the long haul, or they weren't built for the distance. Sometimes you sleep with them. This is when you start understanding there's a difference between fucking somebody versus fucking with somebody. But the most important part of this is you have to look in the mirror and cancel that subscription that you subscribe to yourself. Stop allowing your past to govern your future. You got to take ownership of what you've done. Perfect example, I've had relationships with a whole heap of backwards bitches off and on in my life. Now, I can always point the finger at some of the fucked up shit they did, but when you take the onus of understanding that you provided them a stage to perform on, to show their stinking ass, that's you taking accountability of your life. That's you taking the keys back and leading yourself forward in spite of the shit. When you own your shit, you become empowered by your shit because they can't really use it effectively against you. Sure, people will crack jokes, but when you take a stand on it, you start gaining real estate, not just within yourself, but around yourself. Now people have to shut the fuck up because you do show your work every day, all day. That's the most important part in that instance. Now, this is one of my favorites. Your unapologetic self demands no apologies. After you forgive yourself, this is when you take a fifth of fuck it every fucking day. You can take it in the morning. You can take it in the afternoon. You can take it even before you go to sleep. It's low on calories, but I promise you, it is beneficial for you moving forward. I know I'm an asshole with principles. I crack jokes sometimes, but a lot of times I stop taking myself so seriously. Start learning to live life instead of existing. I read books. I do all kind of things where I like to engage my mind and watch the Sci-Fi Channel, watch things with Animal Planet, things that engage my mind, worry about things like meteorology, all different types of things. You as a man should always find many ways to mature and increase the potency of your masculine light without no fucking apologies. If someone doesn't like the way you said something, sure, you can reword it in some instances. But if you needed to say it in the way you need to say it, fuck their feelings. Now, if their feelings are two-ply, they're good to wipe your ass with and fling it right back at them. But it doesn't always call for that. You as a man should make no apologies of standing and being a man of purpose and principles. Despite what this society tends to say, it's toxic. No, toxic is this toxic bitch assness you see every day. It's not masculine to run around here cartwheeling around the field with crotchless panties. Don't let them mislead you in being the greatest man you are meant to be. You are not here by accident, even though your circumstances might not be the greatest. we oppose environment, which means with those diamonds, they start off dirty, but expect that pressure. You'll find out what kind of man you're made of when adversity comes at your front door and how you address it. Are you going to be that man with principles and purpose and stand there, own your shit, and keep pushing and fight back? Or are you going to be that bitch that's going to curl up in the ball and be that wearing Kool-Aid as lipstick, being passed around like fucking blunts? If you're that man, make no apologies. You have your own style. You have your own slang. How you move, how you view yourself. You were given the blueprint to how to receive you or show people how to get the fuck away from you. But that's you taking ownership of who you are, being your greater self. And number 5, most important of all this shit, upgrade your respective programs and the best firewalls to protect yourself. This should go without saying, but for those who are not accustomed to taking the mantle of masculinity for themselves, this I'm gonna help you guys out. For all my veterans, they're very familiar with this. Usually they will refer to as SMEAC. If you ask them, they already know. You already assessed the problem. You're all about the preparation. When you have a plan, you do what you ever do. You have a vision board, even for yourself, especially. Then it's the pursuit. If your actions, words, and intent don't work in concert, you are full of shit. This is why the pursuit is so important. You're going to run and stumble a couple of times to get your footing. But once you get your rhythm, you'll be able to strive for perfection. Now, you're not always going to achieve perfection, but you'll be far better than who you were last month, last week, last year, last decade. We should always be growing. We're going to get older, but the thing is, like, you have to refine yourself to find your better self. Other firewalls like this, if they're not worth the time, toll, trouble, nor threat, understand this isn't limited to women. Every fucking body. Those are your firewalls. There's one of them, really. Now you have to execute the 4 P's for yourself. Provide quality time for yourself. Ideas of your better self. Supply yourself with that needed rest and everything that pertains to you. Pay yourself forward first. Great quality food. Become fiscally fit. Dress better. Learn how to create a home out of a house. And all those things pertain to you. Then you deal with your problem solving. Instead of pissing and moaning like one of these hoes out here online. And I'm talking about the male ones. You start really using your foresight and your intuition to assess things. Dress things properly. Meet them head on. Don't let bullshit linger. Don't waste your time with energy vampires or your money on people who are just out here panhandling for panties or basically wasting your time. Chaos has its place, but you have to micromanage that, if anything. Then we talk about protection. This isn't just things that you watch, hear, and say about the company you keep. That matters a great deal. But I'll get to that in a second. And when it comes to procreation, this is more than just sex. Learn how to treat yourself. Have a healthy relationship for yourself, to yourself. That way you teach others how to treat you. This helps you break the curses in the many areas that we've been afflicted in, as you've seen in here. From 1 through 10, many men have at least one or a few, or if all, afflictions in the areas. This is where we start removing ourselves, becoming the sin eaters of people who made mistakes before us, and we had to carry those burdens. We unfuck ourselves and we become the Cursebreakers. You have to start planting the seeds of greatness within yourself. Water it with wisdom. Nurture it with patience. And you will mature to the man that you never expected to be, but you should be. Another firewall, you notice how the diagrams match. If you do not have exemplary followers, people who will breathe life into your vision, where you're going, who will protect you, not just in public, but outside of your view, you are surrounded by enemies, potential enemies. Now, it's not to say you can't use these pieces of shit, but you cannot rely on them either. They are expendable for a reason, but you have to be very wise on how to execute them properly. This is chess, not checkers. In this game of life, you're going to run into all kind of characters, and you have to have that level of discernment, wisdom, understanding, and patience to see things out. A lot of times they can't wait to tell on themselves. Establish system, order, and structure for yourself. Every man has a system, good or bad, on the loss value side or the 10 life value side. But we're talking about the positive men. Start off with the win about getting up and making your bed in the morning. Take pride in taking a shower. Go out here and do what you need to do to get right. Eat better, sleep better, think better, move better. All those things that helps you establish that level of order, not just for yourself, but the people you're around. If you got individuals who are out there ignorant and chaotic and bringing bullshit to your area, that's when you establish order and kick them the fuck out, or kick it or feed them with a long-handled spoon. Then that structure, that helps protect you. That wards off enemies because they have to think twice and then some before they come insult you. They always assume that you're weak. Let them do that and make them pay dearly. So with all that being said, there's a pattern from allowing yourself to be a slave to your prison, being a prisoner perspective, versus being an actual curse breaker who can jumpstart the next generation by you passing on something great because you fixed the problems, or at least most of them, before it's their time to take the baton. I'm going to close with, in respects of my of the fallen, my Lance Corporal Wilson, who happened to be my A gunner. And I may have said the story before, but this fits perfect with the thing about what I'm saying today. They placed him under my charge as a joke. He wasn't the smartest. He talked a little funny. He was an old country bumpkin. And he had low self-esteem. But that night, he and I had a straight up man-to-man talk, and I said, look, I want to understand who I'm dealing with, who I'm training. And he was respectful. He said, yes, Lance Corporal. I said, look, it is my duty to learn all as much information I can, and I'm going to impart that to you because I'm going to be training you to be better than me. Now, he didn't understand it at first. He said, look, my duty is great leaders create great leaders. And we're going to work together. And we're going to do this by the numbers. And I need you to help me teach you how to understand and receive this information. That way you can accomplish the goal that I set for you. You're going to be better than me because I'm not going to be here all the time. So you're going to carry on the baton and be the best representation that someone gave a damn about your direction, your growth, your abilities to shine out here, because they think you're a piece of shit and I don't. And over time, we started learning reading our books as a collective. We would take time off leave, just even an hour or two, to sit down, like grill each other with questions. And he would just gradually, slowly but surely started gaining confidence in what he was doing and understanding. And then when they would sit there and like every time randomly just to catch him off guard, he would piss them off because he was right on point. They hated him because he wasn't supposed to achieve anything. They kept calling him all kind of bullshit, making fun of him. But the thing is, like, he started learning how to shine in spite of the shadows surrounding him. When it came to tests, his lowest test was an 89%. That's because he was just frazzled about something. But we still hold the division record to this day, because our MOS was 0351, anti-take assaultman. But that's been absorbed into the 0351s, I think, last year or whatnot. Out of 90 shots of our rockets, we hit 88. Granted, we didn't obtain perfection, but you took a guy that they intentionally called a shitbird, and he became a polished Marine. Now, unfortunately, he passed away with prostate cancer. And out of spite, I wasn't allowed to see him in his final moments. But the thing is, we cannot hold on to those grudges like that. You got to learn the lessons of your life. Those L's that you learn, they're literally lessons. Those losses will always be lessons. You're only a loser if you put them on your trophy wall and hold them up and don't go back to resolve those things. This is why we as men cannot be sitting here pissing and moaning about simple shit. There are far more things that demand our attention. Because while people are pissing and moaning in real time, we're losing brothers left and right. We're being taken off the board unceremoniously. It's literally a sport how we're being taken out here. Many times over by those who are lesser than us because they gave up on themselves. You are dangerous when you start finding out the power of your masculine light. You need to move forward like that. Be willing to put it all on the line to be remembered as a great man. That's how you transcend from being a shit eater, eating the shit from people who are scared death, shitless of you when you reach your greatness. To be an actual curse breaker, teaching lesser men to reach for the stars for themselves, to become those pillars of influence that they never thought they could be, but once they realize their place, they're unfucking stoppable. So that being said, salute to you guys. I was hoping that part of a solid and positive message to you. And I hope you answered your question. Yes, I said it. A sin eater is not a billet any respectful man wants to entertain. We should not be bearing the weight of generational curses on purpose. We're built for greatness. We're built for that level of pressure. But it's not right for us to allow ourselves to break over bullshit. So with that, you guys let me know in the comment section. Let me know how you feel. And to my brothers out there, show no fucking shame in being who you are. But don't take no shit either. Some people had to learn that real quick from what I'm hearing. Keep pushing, keep growing, keep striving. If you're going to fail forward. Get the fuck up and keep it pushing. Salute to you guys. I want you to be safe.